Hi, thank you for signing up to gain instant access to our Coach Training 101 class. We're offering this class to educate people on coaching, clear up confusion, and also share all the latest coaching trends and industry standards with you. And we want to introduce who we are and give you a sample of what we offer. And we want to give you a warm welcome to the Institute. Today, you will learn one, how coaching is unique and how it's different from the other helping professions of counseling and consulting. Two, how coaches are leaving a positive impact in people's lives. Three, industry trends and standards that you want to be aware of. And four, what a coaching session is like. We are going to be sending you a coaching demonstration if you have signed up for this class. And we will also wrap it up with questions and answers that have been submitted to us. A little bit about us and who we are. We're a mission-driven team. We're here because we are all on a mission to elevate human potential through both the art and the science of masterful coaching. We're a team of professional coaches that have a huge passion for being a part of the solution in life and leaving the world a better place than we found it. My name is Laurel Elders. I'm the founder and CEO of the Institute. I caught the coaching bug in 2005 when I took my first coaching class. I actually signed up thinking I was learning how to do counseling skills. I didn't really know what actual coaching was, had no clue it existed. And what I found that first day of my training was that this was a profession that helps people get in touch with their own wisdom. And I fell head over heels in love and have not turned back since. I've just loved it, loved empowering people, love making a living, empowering lives. And I have with me today Lauren Stidham. Lauren is our Dean of Students. She's also a graduate of ours and a professional certified coach with the ICF. Lauren, would you love to share a little bit about your coaching practice?
Yes, hi. So glad to be here today. I support students at the Institute from beginning to end. So if someone has questions about whether they want to get into coaching, I help them with that, as well as enrollment all the way through the program to certification. And I discovered coaching a few years back. I was stuck in a job that felt really not in alignment with who I was and some of my core values. And I was feeling like what I was doing was not making big enough impact in the world. And thankfully, one of the other instructors at the Institute introduced me to coaching. And as soon as I took my first class in the program, I was like, yes, this is actually 100% what I'm supposed to be doing. So then it became a shift of, all right, how do I navigate through the idea of leaving the current position I was in into coaching and helping others feel empowered. So I was able to do that actually mid-pandemic, opened up my own coaching practice called Blueprint to Bloom. And I partner with individuals to build, architect, and be the architect of a life they love.
All right, so let's dive in. The first thing to help, if I can get there we go. The first thing to help better understand what coaching is actually to also understand what coaching is not.
Yeah, so I'd like to just touch base on the definitions of coaching, counseling, and consulting, the three C's, because these are often confused in the world we're living in today. So it's really nice to really have a definition of each of them so that you can see clearly what they look like and how they might be relevant to you and what you're looking to do with your life. So the first is coaching, and coaching is a partnership where you as the coach see the client as the expert of his or her own life, and you partner with them to bring out their full human potential, their skills, and it's a really unique process that honors that client expertise. They get to make the decisions in a very thought-provoking and creative process. So someone will come to coaching when they are looking to find answers within themselves and bring them into future goals and dreams and plans. Counseling is more in alignment with needing a clinical diagnosis or treatment. A lot of times people will seek counseling when the problem feels bigger than themselves and they need specific trained guidance and support in that area. And then the last one is consulting. Consulting is the business of giving specialized advice to professionals. This typically shows up with business or financial, sometimes in health, but you have a lack of information and you're needing an expert to provide that information to you. And that's when you'd be looking for a consultant. And so coaching is really best when you are working towards a new potential or goal in your life or work, when your client is seeking that. They feel like they need this personal development piece. They want to grow. They are in a space where they're able to self-actualize, self-develop, self-generate. They're very aware. They're learning what self-awareness means. And they're willing to take action and responsibility for what they are going to do in the coaching. And so it's a really beautiful process of self-discovery and ownership as they're creating the kind of life and working through the type of goals that they want. Counseling, as I mentioned earlier, is best when there's some type of diagnosis or specialized support needed. A lot of times this is around emotional wounding, triggers, trauma. The problem is definitely going to feel bigger than the client. So I know many years back when I was going through my divorce, I was barely making it through the day. I hardly felt like I could self-generate what I needed to do with my life. I just really needed to go to a space that felt safe, supportive, where a counselor could open my eyes and show me some insights to my past, to how I got to where I was today. And I really appreciated that guidance and help on my problems, because I really felt like I did not have any of those answers within me. And counseling really helped me heal from that. So I was ready to feel more whole and able to move forward with life. And then consulting is best usually when you need a gap filled. So there's some kind of information that you're missing that you are going to need an expert to give you that advice. And so consulting is also considered teaching. There's going to be some technical skills needed, maybe business, health coaching. So for example, someone that's working on losing weight might want a very specific diet plan. They want you to tell them how many carbs they should be eating and how many pounds they should be losing. They're looking for your expert opinion to solve the problem. And so teaching is involved in consulting, and it's usually best when someone feels like, I need this information. I want very specific details.
And that brings us to, how do coaches do what they do? How do we get people to their own empowerment? How do we honor them as the expert, right? It's a completely different approach that not many people are familiar with. And we found it valuable to break it down in these terms. So on the journey to potential, there are two paths that we can take. The first path is guided. So somebody can show us the way. We can learn from external sources, books, classes, mentors, teachers, therapists, counselors, community. All of these things are so important on that first journey. The first journey is really helpful to get us traction. But we've found that the first journey can only take us so far. To truly reach our potential, we must embark on the second journey. The second journey is self-discovered. So we reach our potential by going within ourselves, locating our own truths, finding our own personal power, finding and cultivating our own wisdom. That's where coaches step in. So a coach honors their client as the expert. Now, coaches are still experts. We are experts in the coaching process of helping somebody look at things from different perspectives. We are the experts in a self-actualization journey that we invite our clients to go on. But we acknowledge that while we can, any human being can become an expert in something external, like a process or, learning something, we will never be the expert of someone else's truth. So we sit there in honor of, what is the client's truth? Where's the client's power? And we take them there on that second journey. No other profession that I'm aware of is skilled and trained to take somebody on that second journey. The other ways that we can go on the self-discovered journey is also through contemplation, self-reflection, and spiritual practice. And then coaching, working with a coach can take us 10 times even further, because at that point, we're not self-referenced. A coach comes in and offers an objective, safe space to discover our full capacity. Discover and develop, I should say. The other reason why we are here is because coaching is profound. So get this, we don't create possibilities. They already exist. The question is, do we have access to those possibilities? So for example, if I go to work and I have a chip on my shoulder and I'm short with people, I just stay to myself and, I'm not very productive, what are the odds I'm going to get promoted? Probably not so good, right? But if I get coached, I become self-aware of the chip on my shoulder and I shift out of that. Now I'm showing up to work resourced, inspired, and positive. What are the odds I'm going to get that promotion? I may or may not get it, but I've increased the probability. I've increased access to the possibility that already existed. That's the work that we do as coaches. We help our clients increase access to the possibilities that already exist. But the other neat thing is that we don't stop there. We also help our clients activate possibilities that exist within them. So within all of us exists what are called human virtues, and we can activate different human virtues in different scenarios when we become self-aware. And this leads to achieve. So coaches help our clients take inspired action. And it's really interesting because the brain, they did a study where somebody was given information. And when we're given information or told what to do, the brain actually just off-puts it. There wasn't ownership of it. Versus if I ask you a question and you come up with your own answer, you have ownership over that answer. You're more inspired about that answer. And action was connected to the emotional side of the brain. So when somebody comes up with their own answers, they feel inspired by that and we're more likely to take action. So what they found is that coaching is very effective and very results driven in terms of it's getting excellent results. And just to give you a couple snapshots of how this is showing up, in this particular study, 31 managers underwent a conventional training program that was followed up by 8 weeks of one-on-one executive coaching. So get this, training alone without the coaching. So just the training showed that their productivity increased by 22.4%. But training and coaching increased productivity by 88%. That is a huge jump. And that is because coaching meets people where they're at, takes the training, right? That external, the first journey information, and helps people adapt it to their personality style. There's not one person and not one formula of success for every person. Every single human being has their own unique success formula. And that is why coaching is so productive and helpful. Here's another one. Coaching produced a 529 return on investment and significant intangible benefits to the business. This is from Merrill Anderson, including the financial benefits of employee retention. So coaching boosted the overall ROI of this company to 788%. That's huge. That's really huge. So those are just two minor snapshots of the impact that coaching is having in companies' lives and also in people's lives. So a little bit about the industry standards. What is going on in the coaching world?
Yeah, so this is the question that I field quite a bit in my role as Dean of Students when students are considering coaching is where do they start? What do they want to do? Which program do they want to take? Are they wanting to get an ICF credential? So I really want to break that down for you in a way that's understandable so that you can make some decisions around what would be the best fit for you. So the ICF stands for the International Coaching Federation. It is the global standard for coaching, and they have a really nice, solid set of code of ethics and all the different procedures for how coaching should look. That's a universal standard in our world. Most companies, if you're looking to contract out and do coaching, are looking for an ICF credential. And it's really important that you know the distinctions between them so that you can select the one that's the best fit for you. So the first ICF credential that you can get is an ACC, which is the Associate Certified Coach. It is the level 1 program. So if you were to select this option, you'd be looking at getting 60 hours of training from an ICF accredited school, and then you'd be working on 100 hours of coaching practice. Once you have that, there is a coach knowledge assessment test you would take, and you pass that, you can get your ACC. The ACC is recommended for individuals who are looking to incorporate coaching into something they're already doing. So maybe they're in HR and they want to have a more coach-like approach. Maybe they're a realtor and they have a team and they'd like to have a more coach-like approach with their team. Sometimes counselors want to have a more coach-like approach as they're working with their clients. So the ACC is a really great option for individuals that want to have a more coach-like approach in what they're already doing. The PCC credential stands for Professional Certified Coach. This is the universal standard for coaches who have their own practice. So if you're wanting to have your own practice where you're working one-on-one with clients, if you're also considering contracting out through your own company as a coach to different clients and corporations, then PCC is recommended because you get the full 125 hours of training, plus you are working on 500 hours of coaching on your own with different clients. But this is going to give you a really balanced, well-rounded approach to coaching, which you're going to need if you have your own practice. And this program in our school runs approximately a year. And by the time you're done with this program, you're going to feel like you have all the basics in place to start your own coaching practice, start bringing on clients, start contracting out. It's a really, really nice program for any individual that's considering, oh, yep, I think coaching is a direction I want to go for my life in the future, and I want to call myself a certified coach. You get a designation from our school as well. And so PCC is what most students who are considering having a coaching practice select. Now, MCC comes later on down the road. It's the Master Certified Coach. And this is something that Laurel has achieved because, as she mentioned earlier, she's been in coaching since, was it 2005?
Yes.
Yeah, so she's got over 2,500 hours of coaching experience, and she's had additional training and mentoring. And so this is something that you can absolutely aim for later on down the road once you are a more established coach. One way that's a simple way to break it down is to look at the programs through like the idea of like a university degree. So if you were to get an ACC credential, go through that type of training, the level 1 training, that's the equivalent of getting a bachelor's degree in coaching. The PCC level, the level 2 program, that's the equivalent of getting a master's degree. And then the MCC would be like getting a PhD farther down the road after you've had a lot of education. And so our institute does offer both the level 1 and level 2 training. If you have additional questions about which one's the best fit for you, you can always reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have, go through the options with you again, and see what's the best fit for your needs.
Yeah. And the other really neat thing about the credentialing is that, the equivalents that Lauren just spoke to, the BA, the master's, the doctorate, you get, when you're credentialed, you get the benefit of that level, that like robust level of credentialing. But it's a third of the cost of getting another degree or getting a master's degree, and it's half of the time. So typically an ACC program is going to be 6 to 8 months. You can become certified. And then as soon as you have the 100 hours of coaching, you can go for your ACC credential. A PCC, more robust, deeper dive, is going to be about approximately a year of training. And again, if you go to an ICF accredited program, these are not fly-by-night certificate mills. ICF accreditation and standards are very robust, and they will take you on a deeper dive. You will get training and the benefits of the self-mastery that comes from showing up as a coach in ways that you don't get in a didactic setting of getting a degree. Like, it is hands-on, it is developmental, and really impactful, yet half the time in the cost. So it's kind of cool if you look at it in those terms. And those are the current standards. That might change in the future. It's the market shifts often. So that's currently what we're seeing. All right. So you may also be wondering, what sets the different programs apart? So I do want to speak a little bit to that, because there are a lot of different coach training programs out there. The first thing I want to point out is that if you go to an ICF accredited program, you will be taught coaching skills. If you do not, we can't guarantee anything. There are a lot of certificate mills out there. You just want to be careful what you sign up for. So going to an ICF accredited program means that program has been evaluated and meets or exceeds standards. So after the coaching skills, there are some programs that teach beyond. Some programs don't. Some programs will just teach you your core competencies, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be a deeper dive coach or more masterful, you may want to consider a program that teaches the core competencies and beyond. So for example, we're one of the deeper dive schools out there. The heart of our school is integrative intelligence. So not only do you learn how to master the core competencies, you also learn how to elevate and empower your clients in all of these areas. And I find this so important, even if you're going to go into leadership or business coaching, whatever coaching area you want to go into, at the end of the day, you have a whole person sitting in front of you that is your client. And there's a saying in the coaching world that, for leadership and business coaching, after the third session, it's all life coaching. So our program really prepares you to meet your client at a really in-depth level and to be able to help them up level in all of these 8 domains. So we've got cognitive, the mind, mindset, mindfulness, positive intelligence, emotional, right? Emotional intelligence, relational, what is my self-identity? What's my relationship to myself? What's my relationship to others? Spiritual, am I connected to something bigger than myself, or am I living just for me? It's also where our heart intelligence lives. Motivational, what's my purpose? What's my calling? What's my legacy? How do I start with why, to quote Simon Sinek's work and build off of that? Energy, this is the one that's often overlooked. So chi cultivation in the Chinese cultures, they teach how to cultivate what they call their chi, their energy. This is also understanding cause and effect and how things work, and understanding how bringing our energy into something can shift when we're self-aware. And then somatic, our physical health, how we live out our physical life and experience life. And then the last one is integrating, right? We see integrative intelligence as wisdom that develops from understanding the interconnectivity of all things. So it is pretty powerful. So that's a snapshot of who we are and what you learn with us. We are a very heart-centered, results-based team that loves to see our students succeed. And we also get some more frequently asked questions that come in.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to tag on to what you're talking about with going to other trainings. So you were mentioning that there are other trainings out there that are not ICF accredited that are like certificate mills. But there are also coach trainings out there that are not ICF accredited that are very robust and very expensive. And if you choose to take one of those, none of those hours count towards an ICF credential. So if you are thinking, I really want to get my ICF credential, you want to make sure that whatever you're investing in, those hours will count towards that. Otherwise, you'll have this robust training that you've taken, and those hours will not qualify for the ICF. So that's just one thing I wanted to tag on as well as you were talking about that.
That's a good point, Lauren, because, unfortunately, because coaching is a peer regulated industry, the government does not regulate because we don't diagnose and we don't treat. What that does is it opens the doors for a lot of different things to show up. So a couple things that we see, you can scroll through Facebook and it's just a matter of minutes before become certified for $27 and you never talk to a human being, so, that's not going to be a robust, deeper dive where you are mentored, you are challenged to let go of fears and false beliefs. There's a whole different level of training that goes on with an ICF accredited program. And then what Lauren's speaking to on the other end of the spectrum, we see programs that are just really overpriced. They're inflated in their pricing and they're really good at sales. They're really good at selling a dream. Some of them I've even seen do not teach coaching. They call it coaching. They are using the word as an umbrella term. So just be careful, be really careful that there's a lot of variety out there. Just know what you're getting into and know what your end goal is. Yeah, that's a great point. All right. How about some other questions that we've had submitted?
I know one of the questions that we get quite frequently on our Coach Training 101 classes is what do we like most about coaching, and what is something that's difficult or frustrating about coaching?
Shall I dive in on that one?
Yeah.
What I personally love about coaching is getting off of a call feeling inspired and energized by my client. I am learning from my clients all the time. They surprise me all the time. The amount of discovery and collaboration, and to be able to walk with someone and see how they started with struggle and confusion and all of a sudden they're on the other side of it and they're showing up empowered and clear. It's just really profound to walk with somebody on that journey. What I would say is frustrating is just the lack of understanding of what true coaching is versus not. There's a lot of misconceptions around thinking that coaches are just like Dr. Phil or Tony Robbins and, really kind of doing the psychological piece. And what we found is that coaches are doing more of the empowering piece, but getting someone to become self-empowered. So it's a subtle distinction, but really profound when you understand it. But I'd say that's the most frustrating part is being misunderstood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'll work my way backwards from what you were saying. I think that's similar to one of my frustrations as well, except I feel like one of the things that I hear periodically a lot as a coach is, oh, you don't need to be certified to be a coach. You don't need a certification. You can just coach. The funny thing is that all the people that usually say that aren't certified themselves. So I feel like there's a piece there. But I can't tell you how many times potential students come to me, and they're like, we're trying to find a job. We're trying to contract out with companies, and they're asking for a credential, and I don't have one. I don't have a certification. I don't have a credential.
Yeah.
So just in my experience from working with other individuals, credentials are absolutely important. Certifications are needed, and they really do add that layer of professionalism that you want to have as a coach.
That's a really good point. I also, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Currently, the government does not license coaches or oversee coaches. If that changes, my assumption would be that credentialed coaches and trained and certified ICF coaches would be the ones to be easily grandfathered in, because they are so aware of the boundaries of consulting, coaching, and counseling, and where we are trained in ethics. We are trained in all of those boundaries. And most of the lawsuits ensue when a coach is just uneducated and they're using the term without the education. So just something to be aware of, as well as, if it does go in that direction, it can't hurt to have that coach certification or credential under your belt too.
Agreed. Yeah. And I think one of the things I love most about coaching is because coaching is the client self-generating, the client self-creating, the client's having the aha moments, they're getting their brain, you were talking about the brain lighting up, they're getting the hit of dopamine when they come up with a great idea. I think what I love about that is that I see change that's sustainable. Like they're actually creating change and then they're continuing with that change. Whereas in other situations, I think back to when I was a school teacher, I would teach something and it was hit or miss whether the kids adopted it and stuck with it, decided that was the way they were going to be. But with coaching, really, the client is making those decisions. And because they have so much ownership, the change really is long lasting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I just love seeing that.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's developmental. Coaching is stepping into coaching is self-actualizing, basically. It's going through that process of increasing our capacity and power and all of that. All right. Any other questions that you think would be typical and helpful for our viewers?
Yeah. So I think one of the questions that comes up quite regularly is there are individuals who go through our Coach Training 101, and by the end of the class, they realize, oh, I kind of was thinking coaching was consulting. Now I'm realizing the thing that I was thinking about doing with my life was more consulting oriented. Like, what kind of advice would you give, Laurel, for someone who was thinking coaching was consulting, but now is realizing, oh, there's a difference?
I love that you asked that because I just wrote an article about that yesterday. I think this is why we offer this class too, because there is so much confusion. Really get clear. What role do you want to play? I'm going to be completely honest with you. Coach training is not the easiest path. It's not the easiest path to learn how to be a coach, because you have to put your ego aside. You have to show up in honor of the client being the expert, not you. And that, it might sound kind of easy, but we do show up with a lot of bias, unconscious bias. To show up completely neutral, to be in service of somebody else unfolding in the direction they want to go in, and you just honoring, is harder than it sounds. So there's going to be moments where it feels like let me put it this way. The brain is wired to find answers and give advice and help. So the initial learning how to be a coach it feels awkward. It feels kind of uncomfortable. And I like to be upfront with people about this, because you get to challenge yourself to show up as a more empowered version of you by showing up, being self-aware of your biases, and showing up neutral and empowered. And this radiates out into all situations: parenting, running meetings, the whole 9 yards. So I'd say, number one, understand what you're getting into. When you become a coach, you also up-level you, so you can show up your best self. If you want to advise people or guide people through like emotional traumas and healing, you might want to consider being a therapist. We don't do any of that as coaches at all, period. We refer out to licensed professionals if somebody needs that level of care. We are mostly just helping people build a future that they see and step into their power. If you want to be an expert and advise people, I would highly recommend looking into becoming a consultant in an area that you have expertise. Now, I will say this: the coaching skills do amplify both professions. So, that's what that ACC level 1 training is for. Basically is, if I'm a consultant, well, let me put it this way: as a personal trainer, I would give my clients the exact path to follow: nutritional, exercise, the whole 9 yards, and they could follow it as soon as the willpower wore off, the old emotional attachment to the old lifestyle would come back. And until I learned coaching, I didn't know how to get them through that. So as a consultant, there could be areas of consulting that coaching will absolutely empower, because at the end of the day, you're consulting a human being and they're going to have an emotional attachment to maybe the way things were. And the coaching skills help you empower them through that, because you can only lead a horse to water, right? So those are just some things to consider. That's a really good question. Understand what you're getting yourself into. And if it is coaching, then just know that you're going to be doing some self-development work in addition, because that's the work you're going to be helping your clients with.
Awesome. Yeah. I was thinking as you were sharing that, even just yesterday, I had a client, because the client sets the agenda for the session. And she showed up and she's like, "Oh, I'm not sure what I need or what would be meaningful." She's like, "What do you think would be meaningful or what we should work on?" And, ego could have jumped in right then and been like, "Well, based off this, I think we should do this." But I turned it back around and said, "Well, you came to me because part of what you want to work on is figuring out your needs and how to meet your own needs. Let's work on this. If you're showing up today not knowing what you need, you know, let's spend a little bit of time here and see, like, what do you need? What is best for you?" And I tell you what, I guarantee that session went. I don't know how the session would have gone if I had taken over the agenda, but the session went so well when we really began to focus on what she needed, what was her meaningful thing to work towards. And yeah, it really does make a difference when you step away from kind of this, like, because we don't have all the answers. We don't have to live our clients' lives. They do.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yes. And I mean, I just see that people are just falling in love with the approach, because who can you go to that's not going to tell you what to do? And I know there's days that we want to just be told what to do, right? But do we really? Like, if we can get in touch with our own clarity and our own answers that come from here, that's huge. That's called inner peace. That is called living fulfilled. I mean, not many other professionals can hold space for that second journey in that way. So people are really falling in love with being coached too, which I think is exciting. All right. So that those are some of the frequently asked questions we get. I think the only last one that I wanted to offer before we transition and close up is, what kind of tuition is, to expect nowadays. So, like I mentioned, if you went to go get another bachelor's degree or another master's degree, you could be looking at $30,000 to $60,000, depending on what you're going for. And what's exciting about the coach training is that you get one-on-one mentoring, the whole 9 yards. You're learning from experts in the field, credentialed coaches, and at a fraction of the cost. So a typical level 1 program that you're going to see out there typically runs about $6,000 to $8,000. That's typical. Your level 2 training is going to run anywhere from $10,000 to maybe $15,000 on the upper end. We like to say we're not the cheapest, but we're one of the best. And we also don't overprice. We don't believe in it. We're here to leave a positive impact, and we want to be able to provide the very quality service that we do. We're very high touch. So we're in the middle on those spectrums. So that's about what to expect there. And if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with Lauren if you have questions about our program. And she's going to cover, we've got 3 different options to consider.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that too, that we are here in support of anyone who's on their journey for discovering coaching. And if our school may not be the best fit for you, we love to at least be part of the process in helping you determine what's best for you. So again, please, don't hesitate to reach out. I love to answer questions and help individuals that are kind of making these big decisions and deciding what they want it to look like. So one of the best ways to determine if coaching is a good fit for you is to take our Coaching Fundamentals course. It's 3 classes. And it covers all the fundamentals of coaching, the basics of the coaching session, how to avoid hijacking a coaching session with the client. Again, it really dives deeper into the distinctions to make sure you're not stepping into counseling or consulting. And this is the foundational piece to our programs. So we offer this 6 times a year. And you can see the latest dates on our website. And they're probably linked below this video because you're watching the recording. So you can see when the upcoming coaching fundamentals classes are. If you decide, oh yeah, I'm in, let's go for this, then the coaching fundamentals are going to be the first 3 classes, whether you take the level 1 or the level 2 program. So regardless, you'll be taking those classes. You can take the first 3 and then decide which program you want to take after that. Or you can just say, yep, I think I want level 1 or level 2. Again, the ACC program is something we recommend for someone who wants to have a more coach-like approach to what they're already doing. And then the full program, which gives you the designation of a certified professional integrative coach, as well as all the hours you would need to get your PCC credential. That program, we run that program typically 2 to 3 times a year. And so if you're interested in that program and getting enrolled in that program, you either the level 1 or level 2, your next step would be to fill out the application. That gives us an idea of where you're at, what you're needing, and then we do a student interview just to answer questions, make sure it's a good fit, and help guide you and make sure you've selected the right level. And then from there, you can choose to enroll in the program and the timing that works best for you.
Yes. And if you are, after this, you decide you are interested in becoming a coach, I'm very excited for you. It's a really meaningful career path, and it's an excellent time to get in on the profession. Coaching is just exploding in popularity, and people are wanting coaching. And we saw this after COVID, people really wanting and needing more help, and in different ways. You know, it's not everybody needs therapy, and coaches are stepping in, personal coaches are stepping in and helping people in these new ways. And that's in ways that don't conflict with the therapy, right? There's just different times, different things that we need in our lives. So, all right. We hope that this has been illuminating for you, and we hope that you've enjoyed your time with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.